Is it coming to an end? The years-long crisis over the pension problem. Lots of votes for change, but nothing formally in place yet. We're talking to a former mayor and one of city council members who may make change finally happen. Plus, the national conference claiming the River City as Generation W makes it 6 years in a row at UNF. And what's a person to do with fake news and fictional history? All on This Week in Jacksonville. Thanks so much for joining us. We begin with the latest from City Hall and the fight for pension reform in Jacksonville. I hope you would recognize this gentleman, Tommy Hazuri, joining us. City councilman, former mayor, former state representative. Let's jump into this issue. School board member, most recent, that's right, before city council. Let's jump into this issue on the pensions. Police and fire unions, they've said yes. The mayor has been pushing for this. And it seems like it got caught up a little bit with the Police and Fire Pension Board, but I think the most recent thing is they don't necessarily think they need to vote on it. So is it coming to City Council, and what do you think is going to happen?
Well, it will be obviously coming to us for ratification. What I will see now is the JEA pretty much is signed off on it. Their employees, they've got to have a vote on it, much like the police and fire had their, and the correction officers had their individual votes. That should take place this week. And then the next step is looking at the actuarial numbers from both the mayor's office and the Police and Fire Pension Board does have that right, and they've done their own impact actuary study, and they're going to compare what they recommend, you know, the dollars that they think they're going to get from the new half-cent tax that was voted on last fall, and then the mayor's office will do the same. And then it comes to us. They'll be meeting with us individually and maybe as a group in a shade meeting to talk about the particulars along with the council auditors, just to give us the numbers as they see them. And then really, I think they're going to the mayor's office will probably file the bill either next week or the week following, and then you have a 6-week process. Right. So I suspect that we'll have us a bill by the end of May or the middle of May, passed or addressed at least. I don't know. I can't speak for the other 18 council members. There'll be questions to be asked. I know the mayor's really pushing hard for it. Sure. You know, I supported the referendum. I think the people had a right to vote. Whenever it comes to a tax or a bond issue, then I think the people should vote on that, and I help the mayor in promoting that. Now, the next step is, do you support what they've all agreed to? The police and fire, as you said, have already agreed to it. Correction officers have. Now it's got to come to us eventually, and we have to ratify it. And then it goes to the state, too. I mean, the state finance people have to look at it and make sure that we can meet those numbers. But I think that's going to be perfunctory after this is done.
And some of the people had questioned, well, why is Mayor Curry pushing for this March 15th deadline? Well, when you back it out, there are a lot of steps that have to happen in order to be able to have it in place for a new budget, right?
Right. I think he was the budget that we're going to be getting, you know, our budget starts October 1. We start the new council president, whomever that's going to be, July 1, the new council committees, the finance committee will be meeting on it. And what we're going to be dealing with is what I think the mayor's going to do until we pass or don't pass the pension bill, is that we're going to look at the present day dollars and base our budget on that until we discover or find that we pass a pension bill that we're going to have some extra dollars that we may not have to pay as much for the next 30 years into the pension plan as first anticipated because of the half-cent sales tax revenues. So, but we'll be dealing with a budget that is today, not based on anything from the sales tax. And then when that gets out, then that's what we'll be dealing with, maybe be new dollars to deal with.
But some of that budget impact would be on some of the things associated with this from the mayor's office in terms of raises for those public safety people,
Past due. So not just the public safety, the general employees, council, appointed members, all of them took a 2% cut 4, 5, 6 years ago, and they're not going to be able to go retroactively to restore the 2, but they may give, you know, we may look at, you know, putting that raise back in. Obviously, well-deserved, and it's a shame. You know, you can't recruit and retain with a police officer, a firefighter, a general employee, a JEA employee without having some incentives for them. And then to take away money while the insurance rates are going up and all these other things, you know, you end up in the hole. So hopefully we'll get the raises done, and that'll go hand in hand with the pension bill.
So when I'm looking at some of your background, when you're in the Florida House of Representatives, you served on a committee that was related to retirement. And
I chaired that committee for 10 years, so I have a little idea about what goes on.
So what do you think about some of the numbers that you're seeing in terms of this proposal? Are you in favor of it? You said you couldn't talk for your 18 other colleagues in city council.
No, and I can't talk really for us. I can't say yes or no, I'm going to vote on a bill because, you know, we haven't seen the numbers, quite frankly.
Right.
Neither is our council auditor, which is kind of interesting. They don't get it until this coming week. So they haven't seen the numbers to crunch and then to tell us their recommendation as well. That's who we rely on, in addition to the mayor coming forth with his numbers. So his finance people will make their recommendation. Our council auditor will massage it, tell us where we got. We'll ask the hard questions, but we want to move forward with it. With this pension, $2.8 billion pension unfunded liability. You know, when I was mayor, and this is not patting myself on the back, and you're talking 30 years ago, we were 102% fully funded. Today, we're 46%. Somewhere along the line, they started using those dollars, different administrations, and put them into other areas, and as a result, not funding the pension system. But, you know, we're not alone. Dallas has a $5 billion, I think, unfunded liability. They're much worse than most of the cities. But so the mayor now wants to look at a 401 instead of what we've been doing. He wants to get out of the pension business, wants to be the first mayor to get out of it, and that will be a nice mark for him if it works.
Well, but if it works, then it's a great thing for the city, no matter who the mayor is.
Right,
who's got it established.
We need to get out of that hole.
So how about we talk about something else? I know that you recently held a public meeting on combating human trafficking. I understand you're working with groups like the State Attorney's Office, JSO, nonprofits, trying to build a coalition of organizations and then tackle that issue. Why is this so important to you, and how does that change things?
This is big. You know, drug trafficking is the #1 crime in the country today. The second #2 crime in the United States today, the second biggest crime is human trafficking, sex trafficking, and labor trafficking. We have 20 to 30 million, I would call them, quote unquote, slaves all over the world, more than we've ever had in the history of the world in human trafficking. You saw recently what happened with this disabled person that just got entrapped into that. And, you know, we passed a bill last year to put up signage for 1-888 numbers, international, national numbers, to call if you know, if you see, to make a call. We're putting them into all the strip bars. We're putting them into massage parlors. Other volunteers have put them in their churches and other places. That was just a single step. We need now human trafficking 2.0, and that's what I want to do with. We need the homeless, not just the victims, but the survivors. We don't have a place for a lot of these individuals to go to. We have a facility that's been around since I was mayor that's used for victim services, a victim services facility. We want to see how we can capitalize on that. But in the meantime, we need to start focusing on hotels, motels, labor camps, all these kinds of things that we haven't been able to do. And, you know, I'm beginning to get more suspicious based on what I read in the paper the other day of the motel or the hotel owners or managers. To know that somebody's been in your room for 21 days and they haven't seen them, they're either dead or something's going on in that place. And so we need to start focusing in on those people who are in charge of these hotels and motels. They don't want a reputation like that, but they need to be focused on.
Well, one of the things I think is already moving in your direction is just the awareness about that. I appreciate it. I know there's a lot more we can talk about it. So let's schedule a time when we do talk specifically about that and what the steps are going forward. Tommy Hazouri, a pleasure.
I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure. I know we never have enough time, but there's some big issues out there, and working with you in the station, it helps us accomplish, much like we did with tolls and odor.
There you go. That's right. A big feather in your cap.
Well, y'all's too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so moving forward, she is a leader, she's an inspiration herself, but she continues trying to inject those qualities to make a difference into women in our area. Donna Orendur is joining us to talk about Generation W. That's next on This Week in Jacksonville.
During our One for Everyone sales event, we have reliability for everyone. All new Toyotas come with Toyota Care.
Get 0% APR for 72 months on a new 2017 Toyota Corolla.
So come in now.
Toyota, let's go places.
Tallahassee politicians want to stop marketing Florida and competing for jobs.
The politicians in Tallahassee don't get it. They don't understand how jobs are created. If the politicians in Tallahassee say they don't want to market our state and we lose tourists, then we're going to lose jobs. If we lost 2% of the jobs in tourism, that's 28,000 jobs. The politicians are wrong. There's not a job that's expendable. Every job's important. Florida will compete.
Sponsored by Let's Get to Work.
Get to Nissan now and save on a lineup featuring Rogue. With available intelligent safety shield technologies that could stop for you. Take on the unexpected with 6 2017 IIHS top safety picks. It's clear why we're America's fastest growing auto brand. Get to Nissan now for 0% financing for up to 72 months on 11 models or get a low $199 per month lease on Rogue.
You were so right about that sale at America's Best.
Designer frames?
2 pairs from Karen Millen and Sofia Vergara. It's a great deal. 2 pairs and a free eye exam starting at $69.95.
You just pick them up?
Well, I did stop for coffee first.
Bet you stopped for coffee after, too, didn't you?
Ah! So cute!
Wow. You realize owls have sensitive hearing.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Ah! So cute!
The designer sales event, it's not just a better deal. It's America's Best. Hurry, designer sale ends Saturday.
Chevy is the most awarded car company 3 years in a row.
Really?
Let's see how quickly you can read through all their awards.
2017 Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Kelley Blue Book 2016 Best Resale Value. 2016 GD Power Highest Quality Braking.
10 best, blah, blah, blah. Only about 90 more to go.
2017 IIHS Top Safety.
2017 North American Car of the Year.
That's a lot of awards.
Current select qualified competitive lessees can get this Chevy Malibu for around $149 a month. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Who gives you the best in-home Wi-Fi experience? I assume Wi-Fi is important in your home.
You can't live without it.
Computers, tablets, phones.
How does your Wi-Fi keep up?
Seems like it drops out a lot.
Did you know Xfinity has the best in-home Wi-Fi experience?
No, but I'd love to try it out.
Well, we're going to put this to the test. So let's pretend this is your home. Bring in the devices. Here comes Kit, Elena, Joe. Everyone's streaming something different.
Looks great. Crystal clear. I might have to make the switch.
Don't settle for AT&T. Get started with Xfinity Internet for only $19.99 a month for 12 months. Click, call, or visit an Xfinity store today.
At our One for Everyone sales event, we have deals for everyone. You can get 0% APR financing, great lease deals, and more.
Get 0% APR for 72 months plus $500 APR bonus cash on a 2017 RAV4.
So come in today.
Toyota, let's go places.
You're watching This Week in Jacksonville with Kent Justice.
Leaders, experts from around the country all gathered for an energizing day that challenges thinking, inspires spirits, connects worlds. That purpose comes to life in less than a week, and that visioneer joins us now. Donna Orenders, founder of Generation W. Welcome back. Great to see you again. We've talked about the conference in the past. It's something I think really important to realize. This is a national thought leadership conference, but it's based here in Jacksonville. So it seems like that should make a difference to how people perceive Jacksonville even, right?
Absolutely. It's one of the founding tenets, really, when we created Generation W, is we have a great city. And there's a lot of great things going on in the city, and not enough people really know about it. We are now 7 years later. This is our 6th event. We are in a global race for talent. All companies are. And there's a lot of pressure on companies to really access the best and most diverse talent. So when companies go and recruit to bring people here to Jacksonville, what do you think they want to know? They want to know that Jacksonville is a city that has tremendous resources, that is a place of thought leadership, that if you're a woman in a high level of a company or any level, that this is a place where women are welcomed and supported and appreciated. So all of these things factor in, and I spend a lot of time speaking with CEOs of lots of big companies, and they really want to make a difference in terms of how they hire people and what they do. And this kind of event actually really is a big check mark in the box of high quality things that Jacksonville can do.
So what is the perception right now of Jacksonville in terms of the availability of a level playing field for women in business?
You know, we had started last year this research with the University of North Florida. It's called a scorecard. And it's about the leadership presence of women in influential organizations. And the truth of the matter is, we can be doing better. We can be doing better.
So this maybe is part of the path there. I want to show some video from the conference and what it looks like. This is a promotional video that you guys have up right now. A really impressive list of speakers. But tell me just a little bit about how this conference works, how you make it relevant and vibrant, compelling, all those wonderful things.
Well, it is a 12-month-a-year process in terms of always being out there, eyes open, ears open, trying to feel really where the heartbeat of the issues that are happening. And we're not political. This is not about political. It's what's impactful in people's lives on an ongoing basis. And when you think about imagination, innovation, and inspiration, all of those elements are about, underneath it all, is about having courage to see the world differently, being highly motivated to be inspired, right? Again, also having the courage to innovate and do things differently. That's about really standing up and saying, I am willing to change every day, which we do. Right? Every day we wake up, we're a little bit different. And so all of the conversations we'll be having this year are by extraordinary speakers.
Yeah, I was looking at the list of speakers, and some of them really stand out. What stands out to you? And I know one of the things we talked about, you've got a women in blue kind of topic area. Pretty interesting.
It's a changing face of law enforcement. So part of our research that we've done is we looked at law enforcement, and we have spent time over the past couple of years. If you look at our cities, you know, they can be incendiary at any point in time, but we want to build trust, right? We want to know who each other is. And so we've spent time on that, and in looking at that, one of the great ways to diffuse any kind of high mark in a city, to kind of scale down altercations or interactions, women play a really significant role. And when you look at the fact that 14%, only 14% of our police forces nationally are women, you're saying, wait, we can positively impact public trust, public safety. The answer is right in front of us, and there's a dearth of research and information on it. I love those kind of problems because they're here. We can solve for X. We really can. Actually, X solves the issue here. X solves for
you know, one of the things I want to point out is that partnering is part of what Generation does, and Generation W does. Last April, so here's some video. Last April, we brought you this story. Jaguars announced a donation of $55,000, and it went to several charities that help veterans. Some of those organizations include K9 for Warriors, 5-Star Veteran Center, and Generation W. So $55,000 donations, part of the pledge the Jags gave of $1 million to those organizations to help veterans. What is Generation W doing that kind of makes an impact in that space? And how does, I thought this was a good example of, it's not just one day when everybody gets together. You're doing things throughout the year also,
yeah,
right?
It really is a platform that is all the year. We have Generation WOW, which is our mentorship program. It's the wow of our girls and the wisdom of our women. We call it Wowsdom. That's all about the leaders of today meeting the leaders of tomorrow. And that's fantastic. And we have great partners. I mean, the Jaguars were there. We did a lot of work with women and veterans last year. We, of course, have Southeastern Grocers, Winn-Dixie, and Wells Fargo, and KPMG, and Pepsi. A lot of companies that really just stand up with us year after year because of the values that they have are the values we espouse and live and deliver, not only for their employees, but also for their vendors, their customers, and in a region and an area that they believe in. And that's really important. And that's why we're so happy, like Joyce, you know, our opening day is going to be this remarkable woman with tremendous energy. Her name is Joyce Russell. And she's the national president of ADECO. Talk about a woman who knows about people. And she's going to share what she's learned with us. Yeah. I mean, we don't get to see that stuff every day.
I want to share with people how they can be part of this if they want to here. So here's what you need to know about Generation W. Coming up this Friday, March 31st, takes place at University of North Florida. 6th annual event here. Registration is online. We've got the website there for you right now. You can also register, I guess, registration in person begins that day at 7 in the morning. Donna Orender, great to see you and much success to what you're doing.
You know, this is about all of us, and it's always great to be part of a great team. So thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Donna. All right, so from the Hamilton craze to fake news, what does it mean to be honest and true? A local philosophy teacher knocks that topic around with me next on This Week in Jacksonville. Stay with us.
If you've been injured on the job in the state of Florida, there's a statute that provides that you are to be given medical care at no cost to you. We have several lawyers in our firm. Workers' compensation and Social Security is what they do. Give us a call. It's a free consultation.
Get back to being yourself. Back to smiling and laughing again. Back to eating foods you love. Back to living confidently. With same-day dentures backed by our satisfaction guarantee. And for new patients, a free consult and x-ray. For affordable dentures, extractions, and implants, call 1-800-DENTURE or go to affordabledentures.com. You deserve a healthy, beautiful, and confident smile.
Get to Nissan now and save on a lineup featuring Rogue. with available Intelligent Safety Shield technologies that could stop for you. Take on the unexpected with 6 2017 IIHS top safety picks. It's clear why we're America's fastest growing auto brand. Get to Nissan now for 0% financing for up to 72 months on 11 models, or get a low $199 per month lease on Rogue.
Trifexis presents Life with 3 Dogs.
My 3 boys keep me busy, and taking care of them is my responsibility. But I've got it all under control. Well, mostly. I do everything 3 at a time, so I use Trifexis. It's 3 types of parasite protection in 1 tablet every month. It's easy and effective.
Trifexis kills fleas and prevents infestations, prevents heartworm disease, and treats and controls adult hookworm and whipworm infections in dogs to deliver 3-in-1 protection every month. It's one and done. The use of ivermectin at higher than FDA-approved doses at the same time as Trifexis can result in serious side effects. Treatment with fewer than 3 monthly doses after exposure to mosquitoes may not provide complete heartworm prevention. Prior to administration, dogs should be tested for existing heartworm infection. The most common adverse reactions are vomiting, depression, lethargy, and itching.
Protecting my boys gives me peace of mind, so I choose the 3-in-1 power of Trifexis. It makes parasite protection easy, even if you don't own 3 dogs.
Ask your veterinarian about Trifexis.
At Honda, we're proud of our heritage. Like with the Civic. It's stylish. And fast, with great performance and handling. All things we learned building engines like this. So hurry in to the Honda Dream Garage sales event.
Right now, you could get a great deal on the Fit. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Teens who fall in love with their teacher. She was caught up in an inappropriate relationship with her teacher when she was only 14, just like the teen who took off with her teacher. Next, Inside Edition.
Monday at 7:30 on Channel 4.
You're looking at video from the very popular musical Hamilton. Yeah, is it historical? Is it fiction? Is it historical fiction that everybody just... we're going to talk about that this morning. It's just one of the ways to get into this topic of fake news or alternative facts. Joining us once again is philosophy teacher Nicholas Michaud. What's happening in our culture where truth is somewhat relative or maybe just fabricated? I thought that was a great way for us to talk through things. It seems like, and I brought up Hamilton because there are some folks now who are saying, wait a second, that story may not be historically accurate. How important is it to be really accurate these days?
Well, that's a really excellent question, right? Given what's happening with the alternative facts and this issue of fake news, which I can only assume is one that's dear to your own heart.
How about that?
Yeah. So Hamilton, so I think it's really important that I say, first of all, Hamilton's fabulous. Like, I don't want to be getting a lot of hate mail, like, oh, well, this guy said it was terrible. But it's inaccurate, right? I mean, at least so we're told in terms of what's happening historically, right? And so, and this has been something that we've always had to deal with. Stories being retold. There's nothing new. If you watch a film like Titanic or something along those lines, right? We expect that there's a certain amount of liberty to be taken. What came to my mind of interest when I was thinking about this question was, specifically when it comes to history, is we've just had a huge uptick in sales of George Orwell's 1984.
Yeah.
Right?
Not a new piece of art, not something brand new at all.
Yeah, so it's pretty old. And so for a while we had been saying, oh, well, I guess Orwell got it all wrong, right? I mean, we passed 1984 and we don't live in this Orwellian dystopia. But there is something that came out really important that I think is hitting people now, and they want to read the novel in part because of this, which is this issue that comes up when they talk about history doesn't actually exist. And by that, what I mean is there's this problem of history where you realize it really only exists in terms of people's memories and then what we record.
Sure.
And so when the protagonist of the novel is being tortured, right, his torturers are pointing out, it's not like you can go back and check. It's not like you can put your hands on history. And so if we can alter
what you remember or what you wrote down.
Right. And so Hamilton brings this up. And then, of course, in terms of our conversation, you realize, well, what does that mean in terms of alternative facts?
Yeah.
And to me, that's particularly interesting because as a philosopher, we're supposed to look for alternative facts, right? The idea is to be skeptical. The idea is to question things. The idea is to ask about stuff. And so when it started happening, when Ms. Conway brought up this idea of alternative facts, I had to sit back for a moment and go, well, wait a minute, what does that mean?
What? Are you thinking at that point, what's wrong with that? Or, yeah. And so I just heard something I didn't know before. So philosophers should be journalists, because certainly that's part of what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to question, and well, okay, and not just take it at face value, provide some evidence, show me.
So here's basically what it comes down, because you have this knee-jerk intuition that there's got to be something wrong about that, right? This idea of alternative facts. But as a philosopher, and I would think then as a journalist too, I'm not supposed to just go, oh, well, that's just wrong, it feels wrong, it breaks my heart, let me move on. I had to really kind of look at it, and I think we should really look at it. And basically what it comes down to is this: there's a difference between what's happening now and the idea of engaging in philosophy, because in philosophy what we're supposed to do is look at a multiplicity of facts. And what's happening with the idea of alternative facts is that we're going, here's the fact that I like.
Yeah.
And any other ones, those can be ignored. So what we're really pointing out is those are alternative facts. The ones that do not support what we're saying end up being alternative facts. But if we're engaging in honest discourse, then we're supposed to be listening and considering a multiplicity of perspectives, even if they're ones with which we disagree.
Yeah. Well, one of the things has really weighed on us in the news media, some of the attacks from the president over the course of the last several months. You guys are rigging it or whatever. One of the things I think that is positive has come out is a lot of journalists, specifically at our station, I'll point that out, have said, well, we'll show you exactly what the process is. Here are the questions we asked. Here's the evidence that we found, and then leave it to, in this case, viewers to figure it out. It seems like that's what America is really struggling with right now. We got about a minute left here, but is there anything wrong with the struggle? The struggle can lead us to a good place, I think.
Well, see, that's the thing, is when you're dealing with a notion like truth, it's always kind of, we're having to kind of beat our heads against it to try and get where we want to go. And to be willing to challenge it. It's when we kind of throw our hands up and say, well, this doesn't concur with what I like, and I'm not willing to listen to it, that we end up really having a problem. And that's where I think we're ending up right now.
Maybe the difference between subjective and objective and coming to a conclusion. What a fun time to get to visit about issues like this that some people would say maybe not so fun. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. And Nicholas Michaud, and people can find you on YouTube. You've got a
yes, sir. We have a little philosophy, pop culture thing we're doing called You Philosopher, with a U.
You Philosopher. Go find it and you'll hear more of great discussions. Yes, thanks for the time. This Week in Jacksonville, airing each Sunday morning at this time. We're looking at the TEDx Jacksonville event coming up and the discussion on making even more of the St. Johns River. Thanks for watching. I'm Kent Justice.
More people in Northeast Florida and South Georgia get their news from News 4 Jax than anywhere else.